All right, Friday update. Happy birthday, Chicago. How far we've come, and not in a good way. As you all know, we're a week away from a deadline for vaccination issues. The city's response was filed last night. Our response to that will be filed Monday, and it's expected there will be a hearing Tuesday or Wednesday, whether it's in person or not, we shall see, with a decision shortly thereafter. I don't know how this all turns out, but I can tell you we're not going to stop fighting. It's the right thing to do. In conversations with the city about negotiations over testing and masking even, the numbers are this. Over 2,800 officers are still not vaccinated. That's been confirmed. That has barely moved since December. There is a reason that many officers have not been vaccinated and are likely to not get vaccinated. The cliff we're about to drive off, as I said last week, is twofold. It will cause more blood in the streets, a much higher rate than 800 homicides like it was the last 2 years, and a pension crisis because officers will be leaving and not paying into the pension fund. Politicians need to wake up. It's not too late. You know, a simple start of another special city council meeting to readdress Alderman Tabarrus's original ordinance about the mayor's control about no paid status for city employees. They need to take back control of that city council. And speaking of city council, and the mayor for that matter, the labor board issued a ruling today, a complaint against the city for violating the collective bargaining rights and labor rights of Lodge 7, and specifically me, by forcing me out and firing me. And the resolution where all 35 aldermen signed to, and the city clerk, Valencia, signed to have me forced out of my position or the board of directors to vote me out. It was a pretty scathing complaint. The city has 2 weeks to respond to that complaint, where a hearing will be held about the city's violation and attack on labor rights. And let's not forget, the head of the Workforce Committee, Alderman Sadowski Garza, actually signed that referendum to force me out of my office. And this is the person who supposedly has labor ties in her background, in her family, and still trying to force out an elected union leader into retirement or firing. We'll stay tuned how that goes. Back to the mandate. I know some members expressed some concern about Ramel's decision, specifically to Dr. Brook. Yes, Dr. Brook did say that the Omicron variant increased the need for vaccinations, but that did not mean that it did not, as we were trying to push the issue, require testing to be the way forward. And it was a much better way to detect who was contagious and who was not. The arbitration hinged on one simple decision by the arbitrator. Did the city have unending rights when it came to management rights in policy? He pretty much said yes. He had to clearly stay in line with what he had decided with Local 2. Even if that one was wrong, I guess he had to double down at that point. Dr. Brooks' testimony was negligent at most. We can't control what a witness says, but again, don't lose your mind over Dr. Brooks saying that it was more needed to have a vaccine, as if that was the linchpin in this decision. I will tell you, recently, the mayor, everybody knows yesterday about the lawsuit that was filed and her vulgar language. This is the person in charge of the city. I represent Italy loud and proud. At the site where 51 of our officers and a sergeant were injured defending that statue that she claimed was never coming down. But 2 weeks after they got that onslaught and all of those injuries, she decided to capitulate to the mob and take it down. Well, I can tell you that statue's coming back up day one when I'm mayor. And you could take that to the bank. This is nonsense. This needs to stop. If any officer spoke professionally to any group the way the mayor spoke to those attorneys, they'd be suspended for at least 180 days or more. And the way COPA's giving out suspensions, it would be a 365 suspension. There is no accountability, and this isn't the first time professionally she has spoke to people with that kind of disgusting language. But it goes unnoticed, unchallenged, and nobody gives a damn. I don't know what aldermen are doing. All I know is when I told you we're coming for your seats, I meant it. and it's still in effect. As soon as we get more information with arbitration, it'll definitely be coming out the second we have it. I'm not going to play a waiting game here. I know people are on edge, but if you didn't get an exemption answer, you're still waiting, you're still good to go. As long as it was filed prior to December 28th, you still are waiting for a decision. Once you get a no, you have 6 weeks. That is if nothing changes. If you already got a denial, resubmit another request for an exemption, for a religious exemption, or what, a medical, whichever one it was, and have them tell you no a second time. If it's after the December 28th deadline that Ramel put out there, then realistically, you don't have that 6-week buffer zone. Whatever happens next week, and we're going to have to go from there. I hope that makes it clear as far as the exemptions are concerned. We want everybody, if you were denied, to file. If you didn't file one anyway, to give the city the ability to do the right thing. Philadelphia right now is basically granting exemptions that are put in. Period. Full stop. There is no caveat, there is no qualifications, there is no signature requirements, there is no secondary about medications. It's not a question, which it shouldn't be to begin with. Your religious belief is your religious belief. That's the way it should have been all along. And we wouldn't even be dealing with this right now because the officers that wanted to get vaccinated did that. The ones that didn't are here for a reason. This is directly to the mayor and the city council. Stop the madness. We cannot afford to lose hundreds and thousands of officers possibly. The city's attorney said, oh, there's no reason to believe that that's going to happen because other agencies have just ended up giving in at the end and getting vaccinated, while other agencies didn't submit exemption requests to the levels we did. They didn't fight this to the level we did. Our members demanded a fight. We're going to continue to fight, and I'm telling you, there will be a mass exodus, and it will be on the aldermen's hands for not stopping this train wreck from going off the cliff. Everybody have a safe weekend and stay tuned.